Hello. Hello, 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 everybody. Hey, Arvin, Riven, original, Riven. In any case, hello. I don't know. Sorry, I think I never tried to understand what your nickname is supposed to mean, if it is supposed to mean anything at all. Let us see. Okay, let me double check a couple things and then I'll be ready. Hey, egoist. Hello. I don't really care. Only need to know you're addressing me. Fair. Absolutely fair. Okay. Ah, that's nice music. So, with this tune, shall we dive into some more HTML spec work? Hell yeah. So, where did I leave you all last time? Last time, I left you that we did not support script tags. Guess what? Now we do. I've implemented them. Although there are some corner cases for weird, very obscure retrocompatibility reasons that are still in the spec, like these weird things. And those are kind of implemented, not well though. So I still have some polishing to do. Like I structured the status machine code as it should be, generally speaking, but I need to stop and think a little bit more because unfortunately I wanted to adapt the original spec and diverge from it a little bit from one key detail. So there are some points of divergence, but they're all minor ones except this one. This one is big. The HTML state machine is expected to, like the way it's designed, the tokenizer state machine, the way it's defined in the spec is expected to return individual characters, and it also has the ability to make up characters out of thin air. We don't do that here. Here in this tokenizer, we only speak. So first of all, we don't return character tokens, but we collect characters and return text tokens. Point number two, for us, a text token, it's a slice over the original data. We do not make up new characters. We don't express the way we look at text sections that way. So that forces us to reinterpret the spec, which is some work, and it's potentially a source of mistakes. But that's how we're all in this tool. Honestly, as I've been doing this work, I started reevaluating a little bit the return a character token thing, but I'm still not convinced it would have been the right choice. I feel like there's trade-offs either way. And I also think it's unfortunate that that's how the spec defines the tokenizer, as something that doesn't operate on the original text, but instead makes some more up. And I also do think that they didn't have to do that. Like, even if they wanted to have semantics where you occasionally want to tweak and twist what the what this kind of stuff should be, even then I think that you could express it in a different way. Also because the way they define this thing, it's kind of implying that it's fine to copy everything. It's not fine, man, to copy everything. So I'm against that, and so I don't do it. Also, we have another very nice piece of text to take a look at, which also shows some of the weird shit that I haven't implemented correctly yet, which is one example of which is this. Basically, a comment that immediately goes into a pair of script tags. This thing is a thing. This is not a comment plus some random text inside that looks like scripts. No, this thing is a special construct. So this is the weird stuff that I was talking about. You know what? I feel like this layout. So I shrank my browser so that I could put it entirely on this side. Although these two columns seem a little bit thin now. But you know what? It's still workable. Like, if I remove this, it is still workable. So you know what I can do? I can do this. No. No. Separate all tabs. Did not want to do that. Yeah, we can do this. Check this out. And then I can do this. Not bad. So, hello, can I ask a Z specific question? So, tomato, potato, please? Yes. Ask questions. The point of these streams is also to chat with people about Z related stuff. In the meantime, let me show my super advanced script tech. As you can see, we don't do indentation correctly though here. So we might need to have some extra code for extra policies on what to do with this content. But for now, I guess it's fine. I'm trying as a POC to send the coded audio stream to ALSA a sound library. Some of the types are opaque. So I use extern and I redefine these structs and related method declarations. Is it actually correct? So if your C code gives you void pointers, okay, you know what? Let me give you a resource first to take a look at, and then I'll try to give a, well, I guess a similar explanation, just worse because I'm gonna come up with it on the fly. Let's see, can we do Command N? Yeah, it works. Okay, so, oh, is that a new window? Oh, we got a new window. Well, you know what? New window it is. So, let's go to YouTube. And let's search for the Showtime River. So, all right, this is the new talk, but I don't think this new talk really focuses on that. I think we should go with the old talk. Mason River, Wayland. Yeah, writing a Wayland compositor in Zig from Isaac Freund. So, edit, copy URL, paste. Oh, that did not move focus to this box. Interesting. In any case, so oh shit, there's also a timestamp. Please ignore the timestamp. I pasted it by mistake. I'm gonna share it also with YouTube, with Twitch. So here's the idea. The idea is that Isaac Freund here in this video to make bindings for, well, to write a Wayland compositor he needs to interact with the Wayland API, and the Wayland API is full of void pointers, which are any opaques in Zig. So the way, and he talks about, you know, how basically the nice things that you can do from Zig to make all this stuff more ergonomic. So let me see if I can find an example of what I'm looking for. No, okay, I cannot immediately find something that I wanted to show, but I guess the core point is this. If your C API is giving you a, it's like expecting you to define, for example, functions that accept void pointers, and then there are functions that you pass those void pointers to, what you want to do is something like this. You want to define opaque struct for your types if you can. So this is a tool at your disposal. It might not always be the correct way forward, but it's a way of doing it that works and gives you good stuff most of the time. So let's say that in your case, I don't know, you have ALSA, maybe you have like, I don't know, an ALSA context. By the way, I have no idea how this API looks like, so I'm making this stuff on the fly. But let's say that you have an ALSA context, and so you have a bunch of functions. I don't know, I'm gonna come up with something very stupid, like something like you have a play function that takes in your alpha context, which is a void pointer, right? So you pass it in as a value directly, and then maybe something else. Fine. So what you want to do is create an alpha context as an opaque. As your alpha context as an opaque, you can give to it a play method. So for example, you can do this, and then, you know, foo any type, I don't know what else you might want to pass in blah blah blah. So in here you call play, you call play, passing in well, I guess self. And so the way you use this stuff is that then you will have something like const ctx equals I don't know, c dot alsa new context, and then I don't know, maybe you have to pass in something, and this function is what returns you a pointer to the alpha context, right? And you don't know what this struct is because again it's opaque to you. So this is probably going to be not of the correct kind. It's going to be an any opaque, so you need to cast the any opaque to a pointer to alpha context, which I think you can do with this. So this way, basically, you turn this opaque pointer into it's still a pointer, right? But you typecast it to this type, which gives you access to these functions. So that's a technique that you can use. So let me reread again your question and see if there's any other insight that I can provide. Some of the types are opaque, so I use extern and redefine these structs. So, okay, there's something fishy in what you're saying right now, because if something is opaque, the point of a void pointer in C is that your code is not supposed to know anything about the struct that pointer points to. Actually, it doesn't even have to be a struct, but usually it is a struct. And the whole point of casting to void is it's so that your code will still work even if they change the definition of that structure. So that's what opaque and any opaque in Zig. Opaque when defining this. Note that you cannot put fields in here because this opaque is basically going to be seen only through a pointer. So the talk that I linked to you goes into better detail on why things are this way. But to conclude, keep in mind that external definitions and void pointers, they're kinda at odds. So if a C API is giving you void pointers, you don't want to create external definitions of it. You don't want to redefine those structs. If instead the C API expects you to know the C structure, then yes, you can use extern, redefine those structs, and let me think if it should work or not. No, you should not redefine those structs either, because you should import them. Maybe somebody in chat can provide more insight, because right now I'm blanking a little bit. But no, you should not redefine those structures. You should be able to, you should see if you could reutilize those struct definitions from the original C code. So in theory, if those structs are defined in a header file, then you should be able to, well, grab their definition from the header file. Otherwise, you want something else. I forget the name. It's not extern. It's the keyword that allows you to define a symbol that's defined somewhere else. Sorry, to declare a symbol that is defined somewhere else. I forget the keyword. It's not extern. It's oh no, wait. Is that extern? Oh wait. Maybe that is extern, and I'm confusing it with export. Oh god. Okay, as I was saying, I'm blanking. What are some of the coolest projects that you have seen in Zig? River, Tiger Beetle, Bun, Ghosty. Yeah, that tracks. I would also add Mac Engine, MicroZig, and if I may say so, also Zin, the static site generator. That one is still wildly incomplete. So, so yeah. Okay, let me double check this thing, because now I'm getting worried. Oh, right. Also, the language reference probably has something useful. Yeah, so tells you, oh, there's this opaque thing. Oh yeah, you're right. So extern allows you to define a function signature from the outside, but you cannot do extern on a struct definition though. But you can extern it as an opaque, maybe. But it doesn't matter at that point. I think that what I showed you here is either better or like doing external of something else either is worse or, you know what? Take a look at what I showed you here. Take a look at the talk and see how far you go from there. Also, if after experimenting you have another question and maybe you can be a little bit more specific, like maybe you have a piece of code, then maybe we can help you in a more specific way. Sorry, this is kind of how far I can go right now. Okay. I haven't seen River and Ghosty before. Well, Ghosty, you're looking at it right now. That's my terminal emulator. Is it ready for ZDoc guide yet? No. Sorry. Although, you know what? I think I'm getting close. But look, let me do this freaking HTML parser first, so that we can, for once, move forward with good infrastructure below us. Ghosty literally the best terminal emulator that is out there. Agreed. Yeah. Man, Michel Hashimoto flexing so fucking hard on all the other terminal emulator people. But you know what? So, not to downplay his engineering skills in the least. Mitchell is clearly a insane developer, but I also do think that it shows how much it matters, what type of sensibilities people have when working on specific things. In this sense, it's clear that the state of terminal emulators today is heavily influenced by the sensibilities of the type of people who are willing to work on terminal emulators. Just like the state of web tooling is heavily influenced by the people, by the way the people work on in the web space are thinking. So, for example, a lot of web tooling has been slow and shitty for a long time because people who make websites, they most of the time don't have the best mindset to work on tooling. That's not I don't mean to say this in a absolutist sense, but that shows you, for example, that it took a long time to have like this renaissance where now a bunch of JS tooling, for example, is being rewritten in Rust because the previous pure JS implementations, or same for Python with their pure Python implementations of dev tooling, were just slow as fuck. And I also bet you that while the Rust version is faster, also in good part because of thanks to the language, I'm also confident that the native version, so the JavaScript version for the JavaScript stuff and the Python version for the Python stuff could probably also be made faster, but the people who design these things prioritize other properties over speed. So what's I don't know, where do I want to go with this? I guess that where I want to go with this is that there is a lot of things out there that could still use some improvement, and it's just a matter of looking hard enough and you will find plenty of examples. I mean, again, Mitchell pumped out a insane terminal emulator. Like, how long did it took him? It didn't even take him all that long. Like, how long have the other terminal emulators existed? Like a long time. So like, again, even if we accept that Mitchell might be super strong, and he probably is, even then other people had so much time that they had enough time to compensate for that if that was it. But the thing is, that's not it. That might be part of the equation, but there's more. There's like, the bigger question is too many people siloing themselves into one type of mindset, one type of knowledge, not being good at branching out. And so the problem, though, is that at some point the border of what they're doing, like the external borders, right? You're doing web dev, yes, but turns out that if you want to compile your freaking JavaScript, then now you need compilers or transpilers, whatever, or you need tooling of that kind. And so now, since you're not comfortable in that space, then the people who compiler stuff, they don't want to touch JavaScript, and vice versa most of the time, and that leaves cracks right in the system. And these are like all the places where you can look for interesting things to fix, I guess. Case in point, apparently, I'm one of the few people on this planet who have an editor that has an LSP server that shows them that you close the wrong HTML tag, which is weird. But anyway, let's see what people are saying. On Linux, it doesn't stand out as much as on macOS. Yeah, man, iTerm is... Mitchell just makes software so you can fly more. The thing is, Zig people have this mindfulness about being user-friendly. Software you can love is probably a huge factor that plays into it. Also very I'm also very much emphasizing user-friendliness over everything. Not open source, as far as I know. I don't know what is the current license in the codebase. I believe that Mitchell had already to put the right license. In any case, yeah, you just wait a little bit and it's gonna come out. Actually, Mitchell was asking for could you share some opinion on this discussion of Zig today? x.com/PC Walton. Oh god. Surprised I didn't see these 2-year-old generics are not well suited for most languages post before. It really sums up what I've been saying for a while. At some point, I should blog about how templates invite evils like ADL. This is not well known. I don't know what ADL is. I don't know. I think the blog posts seem reasonable. Like, there's clearly some big trade-offs between... clicking a link from an open thing opens it in the main thing. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interaction that I discovered just now. So I don't know. It's fine. Sorry, I remember reading this blog post and I don't remember now the entirety of it all. It's like I can stand behind the general premise. Yeah, the way Zig does generics has trade-offs. And the fact that you sometimes discover errors at instantiation can be annoying. Some people think it's the end of the world. Those people are clearly have not written enough Z code, because no, it's not the end of the world, not even remotely. Like, a compile error is not the end of the world. A compile error is actually pretty good, especially if you can get it as a diagnostic from your LSP dub. But yeah, but there are certainly trade-offs. Everything, like having more formalized, well-formalized generics helps. Well, with tooling, for example, you could have an LSP give you an error without even requiring a build. That right now is not something that we can do. The Z compiler will be able to do better, right? Once we have all these LSP infrastructure built into the compiler itself. Well, I shouldn't say LSP, because the idea is not to have the compiler speak LSP. But all these, let's just call it code intelligence stuff embedded into the compiler, then that's going to be great. But still, if you think about it, the compiler will only be able to figure this stuff out after having interpreted comp time. It will not be able to do this kind of reasoning through static analysis. Honestly, now that I think about it, I'm not so sure other generic systems are in a significantly better place, because once you say that, you know, generics in Java, Swift, whatever are Turing complete, then if they are Turing complete, then you need to run them to know what the outcome is, kind of by definition. So but setting that aside, sure, diamond bracket generics are better for certain things. They're significantly worse for many other things, though. It's a trade-off. And honestly, it's not even that interesting. Like, just use the goddamn thing. See how it works for you. See if you like it. That's fine. Like, sorry, I know that some people out there should look at these things from a more, academic perspective and try to write papers and formalize things. Good for them, man. Go have fun. But from the perspective of using the language as a tool to produce software, that type of discussion is pretty much as worthless as stubs versus spaces. It's like, sure, there are some differences. Who fucking cares? These differences are not really going to be able to stand between you and producing good software, if that's what you want to do. They're so minor. Or like, I don't know, auto formatters. Oh man, the Ziga has an auto formatter that doesn't allow you to configure it. Oh no, so it's unsuitable for big teams. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I think you drank too much of the big team Kool-Aid. By the way, I'm saying this because it's an opinion that I remember reading. So, yeah. Okay. So let me also show you this. I did a I don't know. I did all the work to really count all the states that I've implemented, and I have all of them except these final guys. So I have everything up until here. So these guys are missing. Some of those are character references. So let's assume for now that we don't care about character reference, which is not necessarily going to be true forever. But let's say that for now we could make do without character references. So we're missing basically C data. We don't have anything C data related, so we need C data, and we need to make sure that these weird ass guys, script data escaped and script data double escaped. So once this, and we also need to make sure that these guys work correctly, which currently they don't. And I think also these guys need to be double checked. In any case, we're kind of there. We're kind of there. We started with not being able to process probably most real world HTML files. Now we're in a much better position. That said, we still need a ton of fuzzing. I think that implementing fuzzing for this guy, for this parser, is a very good idea. And what I was thinking is to have a probably very effective but restricted type of fuzzing in the beginning. So, because if you think about it, if you just have a fuzzer, right, and you want the fuzzer to, well, okay, if the fuzzer finds a crash, awesome, obviously. But otherwise, what is something that you can have the fuzzer do to check that your code is doing well, is producing correct results, other than crashing, right? Because crashing is a heuristic where you say, well, if your program shouldn't crash for any input. So if it crashes, boom, you know it's wrong. But for example, I don't know, fuzzer produces a randomized string, and the parser parses it and says, this is fine. And you don't know if that's correct or not. Or it says, no, this is not fine. Here's an error. Then you don't know if that was correct or not either. But here's another thing that we can test for this guy. We can have the fuzzer produce some text. We parse the text, and if the text parses without errors, then we render it, and we check that the rendered version contains all the letters from the original one, ignoring spaces. So the idea is the formatter can remove and add spaces, or white space, new lines, but it cannot add nor remove characters that are in spaces or new lines. And in that way, we can fuzz for a good chunk of bad behavior in the parser. Because if you think about it, it's bad if the parser produces an error for something that is valid, or vice versa. But in reality, the actual genuinely worst case is when you auto format and the thing just ate a bunch of text, which was happening, right? At some point, I had implemented better parsing for the doc type tag, but then I hadn't added yet the rendering code for rendering all the extra strings that you can toss in there, and so those were being eaten. And the thing is, this is a real threat right now, because I'm not returning character by character like the specs wants me to do. Like, the spec defines the tokenizer as something that returns single character tokens. Instead, I changed that and I buffer those characters, and well, I buffer those indices, and then I return slices once it's time to switch to something else. Once it's not time to collect these things anymore. Anyway. Let's see what people are saying. If the Zig way to do generics is not suited for other languages other than Zig, then Zig probably is the only choice for me, /shrug. Uh-oh. What's the generics? I want tabs and spaces in Zig. It is the way. You can have tabs, /t. You can put it in strings. All source files should use both. But we're talking about indentation, right? Otherwise, agree you want spaces between keywords, even if you intend with tabs. Oh, you're chatting with Soap about this stuff. Don't take Soap seriously. He's a known troll. Be careful. Tabs for indentation spaces. What I mean. In my HTML parser, I started doing the same, returning a token for every few characters and on each one. I ended up changing the code to return tokens character by character because I encountered some issues. Can't remember what they were though. Yeah, you need a ton of you need to reinterpret the spec to be able to do that. As far as I'm aware, up until now, this has not been a problem for me. And I do believe that you can make it work, especially if your parser is designed in a way that it doesn't have trouble with multiple text nodes one after the other. So if your parser, imagine that you have a body and then you have some text in it. Let's say that there's a div, and then the div has 3 lines of text. So let's say that ideally, well, let's say given my current understanding, ideally what you want to return is a open tag token, a text token for all the contents in the body. Let's assume it's just normal text, and then a end tag token. But you could also say, well, because of how the tokenizer is structured, whatever, I could do open tag, start tag, and then text for the first line, text for the second line, text for the third line, and then end tag. And so your parser would need to understand that it needs, so the thing that builds the AST needs to understand that it shouldn't try to do, like it needs to account for the possibility that you have text nodes touching each other, and not try to, for example, eat the white space too much, or like do transformations that actually don't make sense to do with text. But so you always have, if you can do that, then you always have the escape hatch in the tokenizer to return a text node early, to the point where you could even return, your text nodes to the extreme could be one text node per character. So you could still, what's the word? Degrade, I guess, gracefully towards one token per character even. So it becomes compatible. But then you try to engineer it in a way where you don't do that. I don't know. To be honest, you can do that. So while this is true, I think that if you get to that point, then it's probably smarter to just fall back and completely follow the HTML spec to a T, doing character by character. So that at that point, like, you can leverage the fact that you don't need to think, you just need to follow the spec. But then that means that in the parser, you need to start doing character collection. Like, you need to start collecting characters so that you can turn them into text nodes instead of an insanely big tree for no reason. Okay. So what? Let me see. What did I want to do now? Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's implement these states that I haven't implemented yet. Let's do the C data stuff. I haven't implemented the C data. Let me see if I can do match. There we go. Okay, so at the end we have EOF. We can leave EOF at the very end. Will the HTML parser support HTMX syntax too? Is HTMX syntax different than HTML? Can you give me an example of HTMX syntax that you wish were supported, that you worry may not? The problem I had was with style tags. I was having some issues piping that to the CSS tokenizer or something along those lines. Oh, I see. Well, that is a little bit into the future for me. Not there yet. So I guess we'll see. So C data section. Let's go. Give me all the delicious C data. This is actually pretty simple. Oh. HMX attributes button, hexpost, blah blah blah, htarget. Okay, so these things look like normal HTML attributes, so they will totally work. Are you suggesting something like autocompletion? Like, as in, I understand that this is an HTMX project somehow, and so I'm able to provide autocompletion for those attributes directly from HTMX? If that's the case, then I think the answer is no, because I don't know of any reasonable way of doing that, in the sense that as far as I understand, there is no easy way to provide this extra context to the LSP. Like, to say to the LSP, look, this is an HTML file, but you know what? We're also doing HTMX. So turning on HTMX specific knowledge seems problematic. Keep in mind also that it's not just something that you can magically hardcode one time and call it a day, because I'm guessing HTMX will change over time. So somehow you also need to be able to understand versioning of HTMX. So understand which specific version of HTMX you're interested in. And so I don't know how you could achieve this. I guess you could maybe make a special comment, magic comment that says LSP colon, like you open an HTML comment and then LSP colon HTMX. And so you instruct the LSP that we should be doing HTMX. But I guess alternatively, there could be some .super file that gives you information about which type of schema you want to use. You know what? I don't think this is gonna be possible easily or out of the box at all, but it is a space that it's worth exploring a little bit. I don't know. It is a little bit complicated though. Oh fuck, I did have an EOF. Okay, let's see. This is an EOF INSI data parse error. Emit an end of file token. After HBanks, can we fix web components? Oh no. What's wrong with dev components? My god. Web components. Vincente deal. What? Vincente deal and car. What do you not like about web components? Keep in mind, I'm not asking this question, you know, with any specific assumption. I genuinely don't know much about web components. Miss Blue, hello. What is this idea? Is it VS Code? It's a language server that I'm working on, so I'm not using it with VS Code currently, but it can be also used by VS Code. And you know what? Maybe I should show you an example. Check this out. Oh, no. Check this out. This is what I'm working on. And this is being used in VS Code, I believe, in this case. So yeah. Well, actually, no, wait. Okay. Sorry, I'm making a mess. I'm working on LSP, so this kind of thing that can also give you diagnostics inside VS Code. This example here has to do with people learning how to better use the Zig language server. In my case, I'm not working on the Zig language server. I'm working on an HTML language server. So you write bad HTML, and it tells you. And it tells you that you wrote bad HTML. You know what's funny? If you do this, if you do this, like you open a span and then you close a spa, or like you close something wrong, in VS Code is not going to show you an error because the built-in LSP for HTML just doesn't do that. So that's what I'm working on. So as understood, ASCII and MEM are the only string manipulation libraries in STD. No, you also have std.unicode. Although I don't know if you want to define those manipulation. I mean, yeah, it's close enough, but they're not equivalent. So if you want, if you want to look at bytes as bytes, you want std.mem. If you want to look at bytes as ASCII data, then you want to use std.ascii. For example, mem has equal, which compares to chunks of memory for equality. But then if you want to do, for example, equal ignore case, the concept of ignoring case means that you're looking at a specific encoding. What's the relationship between a lowercase and an uppercase letter? That's defined by the encoding and I forget the better word for it. Like, let's say the character dictionary that you're referencing. So if it's ASCII, then you do it in one way. If it's another encoding, then you will have to do it in a different way. So STD.Unicode contains mostly UTF-8 and some UTF-16 routines. But then if you want to have like more complete text, like Unicode aware text stuff, where you can tell if a letter is lowercase or uppercase in the wider Unicode sense of the word, then you need to take a look. You need to find Zig STR, like Zig string, but shortened to Zig STR by Dude the Builder, or sometimes he's also called JE colon. Let's see what he uses here. Yeah, JE colon. So he also moved to Codeberg. Oh, and he's Dude the Builder on Codeberg. God damn it, man. So find this library. This library will give you all the juicy stuff. Oh, nice that these states are not that complicated. Okay, let's see. No UF in this case. I also heard that source hat is very hard to run. Like, it's annoying to maintain a source hat installation up and running. We used to have somebody to, like, Zig used to have a source hat, like a private source hat deployment that was maintained by somebody, and they when they finally could get rid of it, they were really thankful, apparently. So CData section bracket, and we're at CData section end. We're at the end. Well, there's a lot of to-dos that I'm leaving behind. Like, this is not the entirety of it. We are not returning stuff we should be returning. So we need to, like, audit these final states, like, seriously, to even have a chance of being remotely correct. Okay, let's see. No UF. Anything else? Oh, it's the same thing as here. Okay. Okay, this is how we do this, except with some adjustments that still need to be added. Whew, that was it. Okay, we have pretty much all the states except the current character reference ones. So right now, we're pretty much ignoring character references. And you know what? I think this is fine. It's not the end of the world because we kind of would like to validate them and provide errors if they're wrong. But there's also the question, can those even be wrong? Like the question that we need to answer is, can you write a wrong character thing, or when you write a wrong one, it becomes verbatim text without any error? Because if that's the case, then there is no point for us to bother parsing those. Okay, so let me see. What do we want to do next? Okay, we want to save. We need to fix all build errors. And sure, there's a ton of those for sure. A bunch of these states don't exist, that are not defined at all. And we need to figure out how they work. So let's look at the C data stuff first. There we go. So C data starts from markup declaration open, where we see the string square bracket, C data square bracket. So markup declaration is lower than bang. So we are in lower than bang and then square bracket, C data square bracket. And this is what puts us in the C data state. So let's go do that. Consume those characters. If there is an adjusted current node and it is not an element in the HTML namespace, then switch to the C data section state. Otherwise, this is a C data in HTML content parse error. Create a comment token whose data is the C data string. Switch to the bogus comment state. Huh. So, the C data, if it's inside normal HTML, is an error because apparently you cannot put C data in normal HTML. You can only put C data in something like SVG or MathML, or these are, I think, usually the two kinds of types of foreign content that you can put inside of HTML. So MathML, I've never seen it in my freaking life. Has anybody here ever seen MathML inside HTML? Like, this is a thing that the spec keeps talking about. It keeps repeating SVG and MathML. SVG, sure, all the time. MathML, never seen once in my entire freaking life. But in any case, so the question is, what do we want to do? Because so if we were a browser, I guess the question is, how serious do we need to take this C data? Is this an actual C data, or is this like a C data placed in the wrong place, so we don't care about it? I've only ever seen MathML in some MathJax versions. Okay, so no normal HTML then with MathML in it. You know what? Yeah, you know what? This is a corner that I believe we can cut for a first release. So, so another question is, how much do we care about this stuff? Like, this smells like an error that we would want to return, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, that's an error that we can return. The problem is that it requires us to know if there is an adjusted current node, and if it is or isn't in the HTML namespace. And the problem with that is that it requires us to do this correctly. It requires us to implement the freaking adjusted current node thing that we do not want to implement. If a named character reference has an invalid name, you have to meet an unknown named character reference error. Oh, great. So there are errors to report there as well. Okay, cool. So here's what I would say. Note. Since we don't implement the AST building step according to the HTML spec, we don't report this error either, since we don't have precise knowledge. Well, we don't have, let's say, fully spec we don't have fully spec client knowledge about the adjusted current node. So, but as a fallback, you interpret it as normal text. Okay. But the fact that you have to return an error seems good. So this is an error that we're disabling because this says, yeah, you need to know what the current adjusted node is, and we don't want to know that. We don't want to know that because the whole algorithm, it's the thing that requires us to do like magic with nodes, and that we don't want to do. So at least for now, I think this is one interpretation. I think we could revisit this and say, you know what? Even though you don't have fully spec compliant knowledge of what the adjusted node is, in reality, just knowing in which node you are, like in your normal simplified reconstruction process, it's already good enough. And so that you can catch when people are fully fucking up or not. But at the same time, it's like, whatever. This is like C data. It's so like, it's the weirdest of, is the cornerest of corner cases. So yeah. So let's parse it as proper C data every single time. Okay, we're entering the C data section. And I think we have to make some decisions. Let's see. Oh, first of all, we need, okay, we did match. So we did check that we match. We need to consume those characters. To be fair, we could instead do always the bogus data thing, a bogus comment thing. That would be funny. But then we're not gonna validate its contents. So the question is, okay, here's the problem now. The problem is the spec would want us to print out, I believe, C data no matter what. I don't remember, but in any case, the thing is, now we have to see if after this, from C data section downwards, what are the failure modes and what is the expected outcome from those failure modes? Because we need to decide later on, because the question is, are we ready to return this thing as a text node in itself or not? Second question is, what about what was before us? So we got into markup declaration open. What if we had, what do we have here? Apparently we only have left bracket. So it means that whatever we had before, we decided to pump out. Okay. So we have the left bracket of where the... So what we want to send down is the left bracket. That's for sure. Okay, so let's go into the C data section. So state is actually left bracket. EOF let's start from left bracket. Perfect. Square bracket. Switch to the C data section bracket state. I think we can keep sending down the same thing, because we don't really care about any of these other characters that we find. Anything else, we do nothing. C data section bracket. That's good. C data section bracket. EOF sends us back. Other thing sends us to another thing. This is another left bracket. Right square bracket. Switch to the C data section and state. Anything else? Emit a right square bracket. Anything else? Emit a right square bracket character token. Reconsume in the C data section state. That's already what we're basically implicitly doing naturally. C data section end. Yeah, left bracket. Find underscore bracket. Pump it out. Find a greater than sign. Switch to the data state. Okay, this is interesting, because this has meaning for us. This has implications. Anything else? Emit two right square bracket character tokens reconsumed in the C data section state. The two square brackets are the ones that we already encountered, so it wants us to print them and then return back. Okay, that's fine. So, but the problem is here. The problem is here because we're saying, oh, we found a greater than sign character. That means that we want to switch to the data state. So we're done with this, right? Because C data has diamond brackets around it. Didn't somebody write C data earlier in here, like the C data stuff? No. Oh, it was in Discord. I think it was now in Discord. Okay, so it ends with a greater than sign, I guess. So this is where we want to output it. So return token, and our token is gonna be, yeah, what's our token? I don't know. A C data token? Text token? What do we even call it? I guess we can return it as a comment. But you know what? Maybe we shouldn't lose all this information. Let's return it as a .c data. So our faithful L bracket helps us here. And stuff.idx is where we end. There we go. So with this we have this data stuff done correctly. Anything else? All bracket. Okay. So with this, we actually are doing fine with CData. CData is now correct. Hey, the one who has walnuts. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, I don't have YouTube chat always visible, but I do see it. I know that you're there. I know that you exist. Okay, let's add these data states in here. They all only accept a U32. I think we can even go to the top and read them here, one after the other. So CData section state, CData section bracket, CData section end. Oops. That's it. Okay, so we have these three bad boys. Also, bogus dog type should be there. So I haven't sorted these types, these cases correctly. According to the spec, they should be comment tokens. But not if they're inside. Oh, you know what? You might be right. I don't know. I don't know what this is. Wait a second. This has to return character token. Oh, are these cases kind of like returning all these things as text? Yeah, you know what? It's not that important. It's fine. Got a quick question. Is the LSP based on 3-seater, a 3 implementation, and if it's interacting with the AST in case of an HTML parser LSP? The LSP is not based on 3-seater. You're watching me do the work that normally 3-seater would do for you. Like the work of writing a tokenizer and building an AST, that's what 3-seater does for you. So no, I'm implementing this myself, looking at the HTML spec. And I can tell you that the 3-seater HTML grammar is extremely simplistic. It doesn't implement the spec not even remotely as correctly as I'm doing right now. I'm still not fully spec compliant, but they are completely out there, oversimplistic. A try implementation, and if it's interacting with the AST in the case of an HTML parser LSP. So I don't know. I hope that my answer was good enough. So this is the tokenizer you're looking at. The AST code is in ast.zig, and a node for me right now is root doctype element, element void, element self-closing, comment text. Yeah, I have no idea what you're supposed to do with freaking C data. I mean, it tells you, right, that sometimes you have to take it seriously, sometimes you don't. So if we go into the markup state, markup declaration state. Otherwise, is a CData and HTML content parse error. And you go to bogus comment state. Create a comment token whose data is the CData string. Switch to the bogus comment state. CData section state. HTML namespace. Oh, you know what? Actually, we know from the tokenization description, we know what the token kind of tokens that we're expected to return are. There's a full list here. The output of the tokenization step is a series of 0 or more of the following tokens: doc type, start tag, end tag, comment, character, end of file. So I guess it's a comment in HTML and it's normal text outside of HTML. Like, I think that you're onto something now. And I don't know what the actual answer is precisely. So you know what? Let's return those as comments, I guess. I think that comment is pretty much it's just a span, no? Yeah, it's just a span. Yeah, it's good enough. Wait, this is the state, not the token kind, though. Oh no, this is token. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay. So let's assume that this stuff is okay. Did we add the states in here? We did. So these guys are good. We still have all the ones that I added yesterday night, though. That still requires a lot of work. All these bad boys here. So these 4 guys. And then not all of them, but like most of the guys in this section, they also need to be cleaned up, added, notarized correctly in our state. Let's see what we got. Okay, so no, these are notarized in here. So this is good. Okay, you know what? Let's work through the errors and then I will need to take a look and make sense of things. So unused capture in plain text. Well, fuck. Right. Oh, and there's also plain text. Man, plain text is so stupid. I hate it. I really hate it. I really freaking hate it. Okay, so plain text. Let's see. Basically, plain text says, do nothing on else. If you find a null, complain about the null. If you reach the end, you have to return it. So we do not return null, but we return. I guess with plain text, man, plain text is so bad. Plain text is just so bad. Like, what do we do with plain text? I hate it because it's something that never returns you a closing tag, and it's actually correct for plain text to never return a closing tag. I think we should not support it, period. By the way, for people who are not familiar, plain text is like there's a... No, I wouldn't panic, but I would return an error that says, yeah, sorry, dude, plain text not supported. Use something else. You know what? Here's what we can do. At the end, instead of returning the content of plain text, we just return a parse error. That's all we do. Like, we don't eat the content necessarily. Like, we don't do anything weird. We just say, deprecated and unsupported. Period. That's it. And like, we don't worry about anything else. We actually don't even need to consume its content. Well, no, you know what? We only consume it so that we can complain about unexpected null character. Everything else, we just say, no, it's bad. You could treat it as a normal tag and ignore its existence. No, because it has different semantics, right? Like, if I try to, like, I cannot be blind to it. Or rather, well, I guess I could, but being blind to it leads to unexpected side effects. Because by the way, plain text, you remember, right? Like, plain text, you open plain text, and then you never close it. You're not supposed to. Not only you're not supposed, you're not even able to close it, because after you open plain text, then everything below it is plain text. And so even if you try to do /plain text to close it, it's not going to close because it doesn't even try to detect tags anymore. So if I treat it transparently, then I'll get to this situation where I'm going to say, well, this plain text is missing an end tag. So I want to give people better error. Like, this would be confusing in my opinion. Instead saying, dude, it's deprecated and unsupported, that's a better error in my opinion. Okay, so I would say plain text is done. Let's see the other errors. No field name type RC data. No field name plain text in union HTML tokenizer state. Oh, you know what? I think go to plain text we don't even need. Because as things stand... No, well, we are returning the plain text open tag. This is fine. Okay, so we're needing... We need plain text. Also, what does plain text expect to have? Expected blah 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 132. No, you're right. That's wrong. Oops. Okay, no field name row text. I don't remember what these guys want, so let's take a look. I'm gonna put them up here. I think also plain text should go up here, maybe. RC data less than sign. Okay, let's do. They all accept this generic state. So this is not designed. I just put state in here, but I didn't think about what exactly is the state that we need to save. So we need to figure this out now. And let's add all these states in the meantime. So RC date, there's a bunch of. Okay, let's put plain text. Let's see. Data. Script data. Okay, script data, but then before script data, we have raw text and RC data. Okay. So RC data and raw text, they don't really have their bodies. They are different types of bodies. So they have a starting point. They don't have any opening tag or nothing weird. So they're actually U32s. Yeah, they're basically a they're not in L bracket, but they're like just a start index. Plain text goes up here. Text is something that I made up, so this is like my kind of weird state. Okay, so we're saying tag name state. Oh, wait. Tag open and tag name. We don't have tag name in there. Where's tag name? Down here. Okay. Up here. And then we do Now the ones. Oh no, what did it do? Yeah, these other states, though, these other RC data states, these guys need more than just an index, I think. So we need to figure out what else they need. That's what we need to design now. So less than sign and tag open and tag name. And then row text, same thing. Okay, let's see. Deprecated and unsupported error. Hey, Ben. Why have you done this to yourself? If I have to be honest, younger me would have never believed that I would be such a fool to ever embark on this kind of journey. Younger me would have thought that I would always be smarter and always rely on somebody else doing this shitty work for me. But older me wants good diagnostics, man. And 3-seater doesn't give you good diagnostics. It just sucks. And I want this. And it works. And it's so beautiful. And it's so beautiful. Younger Loris, I would never script data double escape dash dash state. Yeah. But, you know, you grow up. And and you have to accept your fate, I guess. And you have to accept your fate, I guess. Okay, let's see. Errors. RC data and tag name state. No field. Oh yeah, because state we omit. U32 does not support initialization syntax. Okay, yeah, this is fair. Okay, we need to start thinking about what these RC data states do. So the idea is, okay, let's take a look at RC data. Actually, let's take a look at what the ASC does. Can you make your parser resilient to common template language tokens? It drives me nuts the VS Code doesn't handle curly my var stuff. That is indeed a great question. And I don't have an immediate answer. I think it would be hard. Might be possible. And if it is not possible, it would be because of the, you know, macro nature of these languages. But the actual answer, unfortunately, I am sorry, is that I'm not even going to attempt this, because I feel like that would be a clever solution to a problem you shouldn't have in the first place. I'm making my own templating language in a different way, specifically for this reason. Like I worry, you know what, maybe it would be possible, maybe there would be compromises, maybe the compromises would be fine, maybe not, I have no idea. But like my solution to this problem is, like, I feel like as a human you shouldn't even be exposed to this stuff. Yeah. So I guess my answer is use my templating language or LuaX, or I mean, like, okay, here's a I don't know, quote unquote hot take. In my opinion, you kinda have, like, I think that people gravitate towards you know, JSX style of tooling in part because these things are a fucking nightmare and they break all your tooling, and you don't even have basic tooling if you think about it with normal HTML. Like, you with JSX you will get this kind of error, but somehow you don't get it from HTML for some reason. So yeah, I don't know. Surely that's not the full story. There are obviously a lot of other things that you get from doing JSX, but still, it's weird. Okay, so the idea is we are inside the parser, and inside the parser we find a script tag and we go into script data. We find one of the tags that requires us to go into RC data, and that sends us to RC data. And so RC data for us is title and text area. So these are the tags that send us there. Okay, so you go into RC data. In RC data, oh, you have to process the ampersand, which we are not doing. Let me actually go into the RC data state and see what it is that we do. Panic to do. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna even comment it out. I think we're gonna treat it as normal text for now, because that's what we've been doing everywhere else for now. So you find an opening something. So basically, I guess your question right now is, we said title and text area. So you're wondering if there's tags in there? Well, first of all, you have to wonder about the closing tag, because yeah, you have to worry about your corresponding closing tag, but then maybe you also worry about other tags? Dude, if that's the case, it really freaking sucks. If this is the case. Man. Okay. Let's go to RC data /then sign. In RC data /then sign, you find a solidus. Okay, no, you only worry about a solidus. You only worry about closing yourself. This is good. So what is your state here in the end? your state is actually the start. That's what you start from. And that's also what you're... And when you go down, you don't want just the start anymore. You want more. You want the start. So you want RC... you want data start. You want tag start, which is self.idx -1. And I guess you want also name start. We're going to use one of those structs. We set it to 0 because we don't know it yet, or we don't need a different type. Type UH32 does not support struct initialization syntax. Yeah, we're gonna fix this. What's the struct? Data start, tag start, name start. Yeah, it's script data. I think we want to rename this. I don't know, just data should be fine, hopefully. So we want these guys to work on data. And I bet you that these guys are also in the same exact boat. Okay, so we do here, we give it the right things. Raw text is in the same state. Starts with a start. Finds this. Oh wait, how did I call these things? Data start. Oh, that's good. Good. Okay, so we can go now to the other guys. Okay, RC data less than sign does actually have a state. When we return to RC data, we return with state.data start. When we find a slash, we proceed passing our same state, yes. We return to data start and tag open. Yeah, this is where okay, here we do this. There we go. Everything else is the same, but we discovered the name start, so we keep it. I think we're gonna use this again in the future. Data start. Okay, this seems good. RC data and tag name. So we basically we collected all the characters that make up the tag name. And now we have to find either attributes, a closing, like a greater than sign, or some other thing that makes us error. So if we find a space, then it means that we have successfully found a tag name, but we don't know yet where the tag ends. If there were text, we return text. Okay, this all seems very good. Yeah, this all seems very good. Oh, there we go. This is the case where everything ends right away. We don't need to find attributes. So we know where we end. We check if the tag is appropriate. If there's text, we return the text and then the tag. Otherwise, we return the tag right away. Otherwise, we go back. This collects characters. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, this is good. And I think here we have to do the same. Data start. State. Raw text and open. Yeah, we pretty much nothing else changes. Data start, create a new and tag token. Oh, this is what we could do like this. Yep. And tag name. Data start, make a token, same story as before. In script. Oh no, we're actually not in script. This is appropriate. Oh, how do we check if it's appropriate? Oh right, there's a I made up a property. What was it? Self dot last start tag name, which we don't actually have / keep track of. Whoops. We need to do this. So if it's appropriate, move to the before attribute name. Okay, Solidus. Switch to the self-closing start tag state. Here we're switching to before attribute name. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. Yeah, this is a bad idea actually. Yeah, we should actually follow what the spec says. Self-closing start tag. Much better idea. Yes. Okay, this seems right. Let's do more errors. Yeah, last start tag name. Yeah, I made that one up. Oh, it wants it as a string. That's fair. There you go. What's the next problem? ASCII alpha. Create a new end tag token. Set its tag name to the empty string. Consume. Okay, this is here. It's happening something more complicated. We are row text and tag open. So we're in row text. We find a lower than sign. We find a slash. So we are opening an end tag. And then we find a letter. What's your problem, man, with a letter? Create a new end tag token. Tag name to the empty string. Are we consuming the row tag? Oh, row text. Man, that's on me. Okay. And tag. Name. There you go. No field name UFNC data. Oh yeah. Oh, it's coming. Okay. Seems that we're building. We're not correct yet because nothing is setting our last start tag name. But we could actually change these guys here. Oh. Yeah, you know what? Actually, plain text, you're good. Nah, it's fine, dude. Like, plain text doesn't need that anymore. Okay. We might be fine. A bit of optimism there. But we might be fine. Also, wait. How many panics do we have in here? So we have a panic there. We have a panic here in script data escape value less than sign. Okay, yeah. Script data end tag open. Character reference. Okay, so we have still a couple panics to go through. But some of them are... Like this character reference, it's fine. We can leave it here. We're never getting into character reference. Nothing sends us to this state. So that's fine. This one is commented out. This one is something we should worry about. So this is a question mark inside of in tag open. So there's an open tag and then there's a freaking question mark in there. Oh, but it's easy. Reconsume. Create a comment token whose data is the empty string, reconsuming the bogus comment state. Oh shit, this is so fucking easy. Let's do it. Oh, it's so easy. So reconsume, that means self.idx minus equals 1. And then create a comment token. We don't need to do this, or we don't do it the same way. So what we do is self.state equals bogus comment, and the start index is self.idx. We don't need to do -1 because we already did -1 here. So there you go. And bogus comment, yeah, expects a start. I love any code that uses the word bogus. Oh yeah. Oh, they have a lot of bogus stuff in here. There's bogus comment, bogus doc type. There's also bogus doc type. Wait, Ben, actually, you might be interested in this. You were joking about double escape dash. Have you read the discussions that I've had on that topic? Like, check this out in case you haven't. Look at this. So you might think, look at this beauty here. It might look to your untrained eye like a comment that happens to contain 2 script tags, but no, it's not that. If this is placed inside anywhere inside of a script tag, that's a that's actually another thing. It's another thing. So, okay, let's take a look at the example here. So let me also zoom in. This is too funny. So, okay, quiz. If you have script alert this script, what does it print? I'll give you, you know what? I was about to give you a hint, but I don't know at this point, because I think that if I give you any kind of hint, I will hint too directly at the correct answer. So here's, I think you actually got it right. Yeah, no, I don't think it's X. I think the answer is below, but here's the problem. So I can tell you that when you are in script, inside of a script tag, you have different parsing rules, but I should say tokenization rules. You have different tokenization rules, but any slash, like anytime you find a diamond bracket slash script diamond bracket anywhere, that closes your script tag. So that means that if you put this inside of a, HTML, like a JavaScript string, and you hope to be able to use that, to output that string verbatim, it's not going to work like that. It will actually abruptly close your script tag, and, the trailing quotes and potential other JavaScript that you have afterwards will be considered normal text. But So in conclusion, HTML doesn't understand string escaping at all inside of script tags, but they wanted to devise a way to allow you to say /script inside of a script element, and so they have these things. So we can, and so these are the dedicated states. Like all these parser states are entirely dedicated to this weird shit that you see here. So if we scroll down and we see what this website seems fairly, like it sounds like a trusted source. In any case, there's a bunch of historical. It tells you why it's like this, like the historical reasons why it's like this. And so, going back to the quiz, the correct answer is that this will be alerted. The tokens produced for the markup are combining adjacent characters tokens to a single token, start tag, characters, end tag, end of file. What about the more problematic case? Oh, there's another thing that also I'm non-concerned myself with, which is, what do you do when there's an opening comment, but then it never closes? And the answer is that apparently browsers parse, they are kind of forced to parse everything as part of this comment But then if that fails, they roll back, and I believe that they try to find the first slash script that they can find, and that one becomes the matching closing tag for this guy, and then they parse everything correctly. And I believe that Safari at some point disabled this behavior and pages broke. So those are just hoops the Lexer has to jump through to ensure that you get a sane result. Please tell me you get a sane result. And no, apparently there are also some security issues related to this. But the historical reason why this was interesting seems reasonable. Let me see if I can find where people were saying this. Oh no, apparently also Mozilla, also Firefox disabled this stuff, and then things broke. In any case, it's very old stuff. Let me see if I can find like the common pattern is script with comments. Okay, so they don't, I guess they don't say this here explicitly. Well, basically I was reading somewhere that the problem is that in the very old days, like in the very first few days of JavaScript, plenty of browsers would not be able to, they didn't know about JavaScript. So whenever they saw a script tag, they would basically just render the contents verbatim on the page as text. Just like you encounter, you know, a random bogus foo tag. And so you don't know that the contents are not supposed to be shown. So what people did then at the time to make it work was put their JavaScript code inside comment tags inside the script. And then in there they have also, they would like document.write some other JavaScript to the document, which is also another good idea. Yeah, they would do stuff like this. Anyway, lots of insanity. Okay, let's see if we are okay. Yeah, I can send you a link. I don't see how that's useful. Oh no, it's absolutely not nowadays. But it's like a big retrocompatibility thing, apparently. Well, and when I say big, as in kind of insane, from times that were absolutely certainly not as civilized as today. Like it's the opposite of, you know, what they say in Star Wars. Those parser states, like those weird things sticking out of your script tags, those are definitely weapons from a less civilized time. In any case, I don't know. Can I open style? Okay, we already have some bugs in here. Missing end tag. So I think the problem here is that style is making us enter one of those weird states. What is it? Where's style? Style is a row text. So we need to try also title afterwards and text area. So style makes us go into row text mode. Oh, you know what? Do we ever exit row text mode? That's something that we should think about as well. Huh. Okay, it's time to start looking at the log spam. Probably we also want like a simpler example at this point, I guess. Oh, we're looping. We're in row text 7. So we're in row text 7. Oh shit. Wait, really? Okay, we're done looping. So we're in row text 7. And then that gets us into row text less than sign. Data start 7. Tag start 8. Name start 0. That was actually correct. So this is from when I still had another open tag. But then why were we looping? I guess we encountered an EOF and the EOF made us loop. So let's take a look at what's going on there. So row text, EOF emit an end of file token. It's okay, this is fine. Not all that interesting. But we kept seeing this. So this makes us switch to the row text less than sign state. Yes. So the bug is in here. It's sending us back in a I don't know, in a wrong way, I guess. Row text less than sign. Row text less than sign. Okay, row text less than sign. Anything else? Emit a less than sign character token. Reconsume in the row text state. So it does want us to go back by 1. Also in the case of EOF. Actually, you know what? Let's double check this claim with the actual spec. Because the idea is, here we found an EOF. And then here we go back by 1. Actually, we don't even need to go back. Maybe going back is the bug. Oh, you know what? Depends on how the consumer is defined. Oh yeah, that might be it. You know what? That might be it. Probably this is wrong. Uh-oh. Guess what? Probably doing doing -1 in there is never good. I was following to a T what the spec said, but it's incompatible with our semantics. Oh shit. Oh shit, wait a second. So this is all fine. This is not fine. No, this is still fine, is I think. Okay, I think we went through pretty much all of it. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, so we don't have the previous problem anymore, but we certainly have problems. We're kind of not interpreting this style tag as a tag. We're kind of failing to report that as a tag. Is it actually it? Am I like just simply forgetting to report that thing as a tag? So row text and tag open. Row text and tag name. No, I do report it as a tag. The only thing that becomes optional is, well, unless something goes wrong and then we do this. That could also happen. Oh no, is this is script? Fuck, I have is script in here. Somewhere turned into is appropriate, somewhere not. Oh no. Oh no. Well, that explains what we were doing. So this is script stuff, that's fine. This is raw text. Let's see, do I have the same problem in RC data? No, RC data seems fine. Okay. The problem of copy pasting code. Okay, nice. Perfect. But the auto formatter poops itself. Why? Starting index 21 is larger than ending index 20. Okay, that's fine. So, still some cleanup work to do, but we're in good shape. We're in good shape. We are in good shape. And man, with this implemented, oh man, this is gonna be so good to finally stop working on this goddamn HTML parser. Although we should think about making a release of the LSP, I guess. Make a release of the LSP and then move on to onto the template thing, I guess. Starting index 21 is larger than end index 20. I think I might be forgetting to put to set the end of certain things. Like here we don't know the end of this fund. That's fine. Here we do, and we do set it. Also, we need to take a look at row text because that's what we're working on with right now. So in our case, we're here basically. State on name start. Retokenize style. Tag open equals 0. Tag name starts at 0. Enter 0. Name starts at 1. Yes. And then character. And then state data void. So this is where we should have returned everything correctly. Okay, let's look at AST351 just for context. It's in render. It's probably the retokenize routine. No. While printing, rendering enter, we fail. Because there's an open tag that's missing something. Oh yeah, you know what? That's exactly what it is. No, wait. We do also do it there, but the fact that we failed in enter, it means that we were entering. What exactly were we entering? Now I want to see what the node is supposed to be. Rendering enter ASC node, blah blah blah. Text. Uh-oh, this is bad. So the problem is that we think there's a text node somewhere. This is probably an off by one error where we think that style, I'm guessing, contains some text that it actually does not contain. Thinking that if we go up, we can find where we think where we are returning a text somewhere. Tokenizer state, AST, current index, current tag root. The token is what? It's a tag, so that's fine. Let's go to the next AST. Tag is a tag, so that's fine. I'm guessing we're gonna have a third tag now. Go to AST. That's another tag, and I guess now we're gonna see the text. Tokenizer, blah blah blah. Yeah, look at this. We're returning a text that starts at 21 and ends at 20. Oh no. Oh no. So this is an off by one error. Guaranteed. Should it start at 21 or 20? We need to figure that out. The one out as well. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So the problem is start. Starts too far. And I think I know why. Oh shit, starting as 20, it's larger than end index 19. Wait, why do I keep getting memed by this thing? Oh no, man. Hello, Kenya. Start 19 and 20. Well, that is actually correct, except that it's all white space. So this is now correct. Do you think it will be possible to make STD HTTP server more performant by wrapping it with ePOL? Sure. But also, how can I say? A STD HTTP server is a parser. It doesn't make, okay, maybe a parser is a little bit reductive, but like it only does parsing, right? Like you give it wants I think you have to give it a connection. I don't remember. But the thing is, actually, do you even give it a connection? I don't think you even do give it a connection. I think you give it a connection. Okay, but the point is that most of what it does is just read data in a buffer and then parse the data and be a state machine, right? Based on what the HTTP communication does. So my point is that in on itself, like its performance characteristics of a STD HTTP server are mostly defined by its parsing routine. So like if you want to make that more efficient, you would need to improve the parsing logic somehow, maybe. Of course, making it work with ePOL and company it wouldn't, I guess, make it more performant from that perspective, right? It would still do the same exact work that it does already to parse the data, like the HTTP communication. But you could have you could orchestrate multiple STD HTTP servers off of one single thread using ePOL and company. So what makes it so slow? The parsing mechanics? I don't know. Is it particularly slow? Honestly, I have no idea about its performance characteristics. Also keep in mind that server is not meant to be production ready. It's not a web server that you are meant to expose to the internet and just make and just use you know, you're not meant to raw dog the internet with STD HTTP server. Keep it in mind. Compared to other servers like HTTP.zig and Zap. Honestly, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, again, I don't know what is your measure of fast or slow. I mean, if you want, you can do that. You can raw dog the entire internet with that bad boy, but just don't complain when your server ends up being filled with crypto miners or and such. So I guess I would say that there's some holistic work that needs to be done on STD HTTP server if you want to use it for that use case. Like if you want to take it that seriously, that far. What that work would be exactly, I don't know for sure. But yeah, I think also there's the problem of I would say there are two big problems, right? From the perspective of what I just said. One is that, first of all, you need to, right now, I believe that the explicit, are there plans to make it production ready? Not at the moment. Because I think that at the moment, STD HTTP server is there for Autodoc and for testing the HTTP client used by the build system, well, the package manager, basically. So that's kind of why it exists. And so going back to your point, so to make STD HTTP server be something different, first of all, you would have to discuss it with people and agree that it would make sense to try and upgrade it to something more than what it is today. Point number two, I think another big thing would be making it a HTTP 3 server, because right now it only does HTTP 1.1, and if you care about performance, HTTP at least 2 makes a huge difference. So HTTP is hard. Yeah, I believe it is, yes. But even if we just stick to HTTP 2, which is also way more complicated than HTTP 1.1, that would have huge performance gains because of just how the protocol works. So, now that I think about it, I don't know about HTTP.zig, but I believe that Zap probably is HTTP 2, not just 1.1. So, yeah. Low quality Arcomi. Thank you for the raid. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We are discussing HTTP servers, and I am writing an HTML parser, which almost works. Well, I'm writing an HTML parser because I want to write an HTML LSP. And right now I am debugging a tiny index issue. But yeah, almost there. And because I'm writing an HTML LSP also, and it works. It works. Right now I'm having trouble showing it. Yeah, I think that right now I'm having trouble showing it, but because I'm in this broken state, but it works and it returns, like it shows diagnostics. No problem. So what were you all doing in the previous stream? In the meantime, I am going to try and see how to make this thing work. Custom widget for stream elements. Ooh, I see. Then I have a question for you, if you want to answer. By the way, if you're tired and want to go do something else, obviously feel free. Don't feel bad. I get it, believe me. But if you keep hanging out, how come you're doing that with stream elements and not with Twitch? You know what? I might be asking the wrong question. Maybe it is not possible, and that's why you're not doing it. But I'm familiar. I used to use stream elements as well. But I remember that a while ago, Twitch implemented also overlays, right? So you don't really need stream elements anymore. Oh shit! I'm getting spammed with follows. Oh yeah, nice. This is what a Twitch moment. What's going on there, man? I basically got spammed by 1,000 weird follows. Totally legitimate accounts, these ones. Oh yeah, for sure. Nothing suspicious about any of those numbered accounts. Man. What a dump, man, the internet. What a dump. Someone offered you bots? No, but the point is, you know what? You think so? Maybe. But I don't think so. I suspect that what they do is that they, like, if you make a bot, you have to make the bot follow not only your targets, right? To make the bot look legitimate, it has to follow random channels. So I think that that's what's going on. I'm new with this field, but I'm using Stream Elements because it's the most Twitch integration used by streamers. Yeah, fair. Okay, fair. Okay, so, well, that's reasonable. If you, at some point, become unhappy with Stream Elements, know that you can also... yeah, exactly. You can also do it the entire thing yourself. Like you implemented the Twitch API for WebSockets, and you can create your own HTML file that you can put on your local system, and then you open that in OBS. And then whenever it loads, it authenticates with Twitch. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, let's go. More spam. More random follows. Let's go. The fuck? I don't know, man. So why are we returning a text node when we should not be returning any text node? That is indeed the question. Let's take a look at our... and I think that the answer is that our trim text routine is borked. I think that's what it is. So, well, thank you, and see you next time. So, we get a start and an end. We get the source code. And we say, is the start index white space? If it is, we bump it up by 1. Then we look at the end, and we say, if that thing white space. And if so, we pull it back by 1. And we keep doing this. And if they're the same, we return null. Otherwise, we return the span. And the problem is that these guys are not the same, because we saw in the text node that the span didn't have equal start and end. So, I guess it's just this condition that is stupid. Also, okay, I think I understand. The problem here is that basically it's unclear if n should be included or not. And I think that it's normally not included. But then here, I'm kind of assuming that it is included. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. Ah, what do you know? Now it works. Ali Resonet. Thank you very much for the Prime sub. Thank you. Oh, what do you know? Now it works. Another question is, can I write CSS in here without issues? It seems so. Yeah, okay, we're good. It's basically mostly something that has to do with these weird characters that you need to make sure you account correctly for. So this seems good. Just came back to my mind, but why can't STD HTTP server like that? You talked about crypto mining or something. Oh, be on the internet. Because the problem is that everything that you expose to the internet needs to be 100% bug free. If it's not 100% bug free, then you're kind of leaving a piece of code exposed to the weather. And so depending on the nature of those bugs, you might have basically once somebody discovers that you have a specific type of bug that can be exploited to gain access to your system, they will do that. It happens, happens all the time. Like, think of like old WordPress. You cannot have an old buggy WordPress installation on your system, because if you expose to the internet, because if you do, then you will find that there's people probing for this stuff all the time, all over the internet. They will probe that you have a crappy version of WordPress, and they will try to use that to grab your password file or whatever. So that's the problem. So what should I do? Use Zap. That works. So the point is, for std.http.server to be something that can be exposed to the internet, JetZig, I guess so. Keep in mind, those might not be. I would say that those are also risky. So be careful, be aware of that, because they're also unproven technology. Although Zap, well, why Zap? Because Zap is based on a C web server that is more battle tested, as far as I'm aware. So Zap, if I understand correctly, you know what? We can go check that out now. But if I understand correctly, Zap should have, not Zap. Oh man, Zap should have, not products. Google, come on. That is not what I wanted to do. So. But you know what? We can go directly to Facilio, I guess. So Facilio, let's see. So first of all, it does evented IO. Second of all, where is it? I want to see which version of HTTP it supports. Versions, latest docs. Easy chat room example. So these are all great, man. But I want to know, can you at least tell me which freaking versions of HTTP you support, please? Maybe TLS. TLS says something, hopefully. No. There's a Redis client in here. Okay, fine. And are you serious? Do they not say that anywhere? Oh my god. Okay, well, I would assume that they can do better than just HTTP 1.1. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't assume. Maybe we should check, but I don't know. HTTP. There's a README in here. I see HTTP 1. I see WebSockets. Let's take a look at http.h. Parsers. HPAC, HTTP1 parser. You know what? Maybe my comment about assuming that these guys have HTTP2 might be not on point. Sounds like they have an HTTP1 parser and that's it. Should probably widen this thing. Yeah. I heard somewhere they're putting things like Nginx in front of cloud could be a solution. Is that right? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that could be. You know what? It's yeah, that should work. That should work with some stars. Keep in mind that you still use unproven stuff. So, I don't know. Don't use that to implement a blockchain. Otherwise, somebody motivated enough will find a bug to exploit and steal all your crypto coins. But otherwise, could you use HTTP STD HTTP server with Nginx without stressing? Maybe. I would say you would have to stress way less. Yes. Multiplayer browser game. Yeah, that seems reasonable. So you really hate Zap, huh? Oh no, wait, we crashed. I thought that we were fine, but we actually crashed at some point. We crashed again. Start index 26 is larger than end index 25. God damn it, man. I don't know. Okay, so I still have to figure out what my problem with text in there is. But we're in good shape. We are in pretty good shape. Figure out that that weird problem there, and then we should be good. Oh, wait a second. What the heck am I doing? I just realized. Wait, I'm missing something here. I'm missing something. While I do this, but this is more complicated. Oh no. So I can push forward this. Well, also this is lower than end. And I can push back this. There we go. Is this actually only parser? I mean, what happens if the HTML file contains something like Arabic text? So, no, this is not an ASCII only parser. I do speak ASCII a lot because tag names And the HTML structures are basically ASCII, however you want to pronounce it. I am UTF-8 only. I'm not supporting UTF-16 or UTF-32. I should at some point, but as a starting point, only supporting UTF-8 is going to be good for 99% of people out there. You are right, though, in saying that here I am cutting some corners, because I'm only basically here what I'm doing is like I'm trimming some white space around text blocks so that I can just have only the text and ignore the white space. And I'm not recognizing non-ASCII white space as white space. Now, the question is also, should I, would that be correct? I'm not even sure that recognizing non-ASCII white space as white space would be correct in this context or make much of a difference. But in any case, if your document has Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, etc., Cyrillic text in it, like content, you're going to be fine. Even the current slightly simplistic way that I'm implementing it will totally work. You will not have a problem. But UTF-8 encoding, no UTF-16, no UTF-32. Those I don't support, and it would totally be like my parser would break. Okay, let's see if we're doing any better now. We're not doing any better. We still have this problem. Start index 26 is larger than end index 25. Actually, let me think about what the math I'm doing here. No, I'm doing something wrong. So I can push up start as long as it doesn't reach end. Problem is I'm at n -1. Like I'm at 19 and end is at 20. And I check that index 19 is space. So I want to go up to 20. So I think this is fine. You know what? I'm thinking that what I'm doing here is wrong. I think this is what was needed. And here, okay, I think this is more correct than what I had before. We're still crashing. Okay, so the problem might still be somewhere else. So I think that what I did here is good, but the problem is still somewhere else. Okay, so here's what I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna call it a day. This is it for the stream. We made some progress, a ton of progress actually, because we finally covered almost every single state. The only states that we haven't covered are the ones that for now we're just not concerning ourselves with, which are the ampersand and BSP semicolon. Like this is like the HTML entities replacements for single characters. We're not parsing those at all. Like they just stay there. We don't recognize them. We don't complain if they're wrong. But as we were discussing earlier, we should report those as errors. But this is something we can do later. So once I fix all my off-by-one errors, like all my tiny index errors, we should be good. This is gonna be it. This is literally gonna be it. And this is gonna be a good starting release for the LSP, which is exciting. Which I would say is a little bit exciting. So we can then copy also the code that we wrote for the other LSP server that I made to allow people to install this with VS Code easily. So I guess, yeah, package it for VS Code and ship it. And actually, I would even say that this parser, as is today, is already good enough that I would say we can... the list in the spec is like 400 characters referenced in a table will be painful to copy. Oh, but there's Squeak has an implementation of that. He has that implemented as Radix 3, I believe. So once we go down that route, hopefully we'll be in good shape with what Squeak has for us. So once we have that, I would say we're ready for a first release of the LSP. And to the point is, releasing it on the VS Code extension marketplace, easy. We can do it. But then point number 2, we can go also and annoy other LSP thingies. Like we can go and send a PR to Helix and have Helix offer it by default. And then we can also, well, not only offer it by default, but like set it as a default LSP that you can use. And the same maybe with not NeoVim itself, but I forget the name. They have like an LSP thing, right? So we could have their LSP thing or flow. Ooh, hey, Neuroside. NeoVim LSP config. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Thank you. I mean, it works. Well, no, it doesn't. But but this is the new stuff. The new stuff needs to be tweaked a little bit. We do that. We want like fixing those things. Double check that we don't have any panic to dos left that we could stumble upon, and that's it. First release, and it's gonna be good. Way better when IntelliJ does everything everyone could ever want for $50 a month. Yeah, good question. The other day I asked about interfaces on Zig, if you remember. Right now I found a good use case for it in your code. SCD ASCII whitespace, for example, hard-coded everywhere. Isn't it better to use an interface here instead? So if you want to, you can change the whitespace checker easily later. Or maybe work a lot with high-level programming languages. I would say that I understand that, yes, if I had like a generic thing that I could like replace once and have propagate everywhere, sure, that's a benefit. But the problem is that if we want to switch away from ASCII to Unicode, a lot of the parser needs to be re-engineered. Because right now the parser is working byte after byte. Instead, it would need to work Unicode code point after Unicode code point. And those are like U21s. So instead of U8s, we would have to be working with U21s. So in reality, to enact that change, you would have to change a bunch of other things as well. And keep in mind another thing. When you have an interface, you have dynamic dispatch. It means that right now that the call to SCD ASCII whitespace can be inlined, while once you switch to a polymorphic interface, you are not guaranteed that your function call will be inlined. There are chances that the optimizer isn't able to optimize that thing. And so you will get always a pointer dereference and call to another part of the code, which is way less efficient than just having the function be inlined. So there are consequences to those actions. Consequences that you wouldn't care about in a high-level programming language much, but consequences that become more important once you care about performance. Because maybe not, but it might be that overusing abstraction might lead you to a slightly less responsive LSP. And in this case, like you would really feel it. You don't want that. You want a LSP that can be as good as possible, right? Again, super tiny file, who cares? But big file, imagine touching a big HTML file. You wouldn't want your LSP to lag behind, like take half a second every time to update and give you updated diagnostics because it's doing a bunch of interface pointer dereference all over the place. So I guess this is kind of the state of things, I believe. So I think I'm gonna go do dinner. and then later tonight, not on stream or on my own, at my own pace, I'll figure out what I'm messing, which index I'm messing, and we should be done. I almost cannot believe it, but we have an HTML parser almost. Hey Toggle! That sounds good, but I didn't spend lots of money on my computer not to use it. I want my LSP to take 12 gigs of RAM. Right. I think that this parser will be pretty good, even though I haven't really implemented any, genius 4D chess optimization thing. Like, I was looking at an article the other day. I think it landed on Lobster, Hacker News, and Company. It was called... yeah, using SIMD in tokenizing HTML. No, not a question. Somebody was saying this. Yeah, scan HTML faster with SIMD instructions. Chrome edition. Yeah, like, Jesus Christ. Okay. You know what? Maybe eventually we can do something like this. I'm not doing any of these fancy stuff now. And, I mean, look at this. Naive, speed 2 gigabytes. 9.8 instructions per cycle. Naive SIMD. Man, that's already so much better. Naive vectorized classification 2 lookups 6. Vectorized classification, yeah, 1 lookup 6.8. So, man, this is crazy. We need to get up in this GPU, yeah. So, we're not doing anything of that kind at the moment, but still, we are doing at least the bare minimum, which is we're not allocating nodes on the heap at random. Not only we're not allocating nodes on the heap at random, but check out a couple of interesting things that I'm doing. So, first of all, the AST defines nodes. Every node has a tag. So a node can be the root node, not interesting, doc type, element void, element self-closing, comment, and text. These are the types of nodes that we have at the moment. And every node has knowledge of its opening tag and its closing tag. Pointer to a parent, pointer to its first child, pointer to its next sibling. And when I say pointer, actually, I mean index, because we're keeping these guys inside of an array list. So we don't allocate them independently on the heap. We don't use full U-size 64-bit long pointers to point to one another. Instead, we use 32-bit indices to point to implement basically linked lists. So memory locality should be pretty good. A bunch of memory handling stuff happens in bulk. That's also good. Last thing, I don't know if you noticed, but we only have an open tag and we have a close tag. And each tag is only, like, it only tells you the start and the end of the tag. So what do you do when you need a tag name? Like, you have a node that says that it's an element. Great. But what type of element is it? Is it a div? Is it a span? What is it? Well, and what about attributes? So we don't keep track of any of these things. We tokenize these things, but we don't save them in the AST. So whenever we need to recover the name or the attributes of a node, we retokenize its open tag. Or, well, we can also retokenize the closing tag depending on our needs. But that's the idea. We tokenize the open tag again, which is going to yield to us a name token and then potentially any other attributes if there's any. So that's kind of the idea. So we're keeping basically memory. If you imagine, if we were to store attributes, since we have to tokenize attributes anyway, like the tokenizer returns to us attribute tokens. But if we were to save them in here, then we would have to have another array of attributes. We could do it. It wouldn't be the end of the world. But the reality is that most of the time, you don't need those. You only need them in certain occasions. So we recompute them instead of storing memory. That's a trick that also Zig does in its parser. But spoilers, technique completely stolen by the Zig parser, from the Zig parser. So I think this should be good. Even as is, it should be good. Could be made better, for sure. But even the starting point should be pretty usable. So that's the idea. In any case, thank you all for hanging out. Let me see who to raid. And then we can call it a day. Tej exploring Obsidian today. Trash Puppy programming computers. Oh no. You know what? It's the 4th of July. I guess I'll send you all to Tej. Oh, or you know what? C++, JS WASM, high performance dev. Oh man, but it's C++. You know what? I won't do you. I won't force you to watch C++. Tej it is. Bye, Soap.